Hello 6303. In this video, I'm going to go over one of the student samples that we will use as a mentor text. And the purpose of going over this sample is to see the components that a completed theme would include. For this video, you're going to need to go into the Module 3 folder and download the Sample Review of Literature by Ludington. You will also need the Review of Literature Trait Checklist, which can also be found in the Module 3 folder.
I'm going to skip over the introduction for right now and jump down to her first theme so that you can see what a full theme looks like. Jill has written Targeting Attributes, Types, and Effects of LGBT Bullying. Right here, her headline style title tells me what this entire theme is going to cover. I know it's going to cover attributes, types, and effects of LGBT bullying, and I expect to see it in this order: attributes, types, effects, since she has it in that order in the title. I want you to take a moment and read all the way through Jill's first theme before we start breaking this apart. As I look through Jill's opening paragraph for the theme, I'm checking to see that she introduces what this theme will be talking about and the categories that are going to be elaborated on here. Jill has the apparent fact that LGBT bullying is still alive and well in our schools is a discouraging reality. In fact, Goldstein et al. Bring forth that forms of oppression are mostly influenced and born from institutional and systematic experiences rather than solely individual expressions. To illuminate, Goldstein et al. Argue that schools are one of the main institutions students learn these ideas from, and schools have a responsibility to shape equitable environments to address the requirements and rights of all students. In order to address and defeat LGBT bullying in schools, educators must first be aware of its targeting, attributes, types, and effects. And I can see that she has a topic sentence here as well as a concluding sentence here. But the whole purpose of this paragraph is to set the reader up for what is going to be discussed in the theme. And you'll see that she's highlighting what is in her title as well. She's got targeting attributes, types, and effects. As I move on to the second paragraph, I'm looking to see that Jill has a connection between her first paragraph and the second paragraph. I want to make sure this connects to the overarching theme. And if I'm following her guide she gave me in the intro, she's going to talk about targeting attributes first. Her second paragraph says, researchers have identified several repetitive attributes of youth targeted by LGBT bullying, including sexual orientation, perceived sexual orientation, and gender nonconformity. So right there, she has already told me she's going to talk about attributes, and these are the attributes that she's going to talk about. In the rest of this paragraph, Jill elaborates on what those attributes are and how those attributes cross with cultural norms to create intersectionality. She then goes on to explain what intersectionality is, and at the end of this paragraph, she's ready to link various types of bullying to the attributes in the intersectionality. So she's connecting this back to her overarching theme of targeting attributes, types, and effects of LGBT bullying. If we look at her next paragraph, she's going to introduce us to the types of bullying she talks about. She then elaborates on those types of bullying and prepares us to talk about the effects that bullying will have on students in a K-12 environment. The final category that she develops in this theme has to do with the psychological and physical effects. If you read through this paragraph, you'll see she develops that concept. And then the final paragraph in this section wraps up those three categories that she elaborated on. She says, the above discussion brings attention to several consistent attributes found in youth that experience LGBT bullying, such as sexual orientation, perceived sexual orientation, and gender nonconformity. It also examines various forms of abuse that LGBT youth experience, including psychological, physical, and teasing, and the detrimental effects left in their aftermath. Considering the overwhelming support presenting that LGBT bullying results in devastating effects for LGBT youth, schools must take a more active and responsible role to create a safe, inclusive learning environment. So here you can see she summarized the attributes, types, and effects. And then she made an opinion based off of what she wrote about in these paragraphs up here. So that covers the structure of a theme. We're going to have an introductory paragraph that sets us up for the categories that will be developed. We're going to have development of each of the categories, and then we're going to have a final paragraph for that theme that summarizes the most important points from the categories. I want to also go and look at the content of what Jill has in this theme. If you notice, she's following that APA style paragraph setup where she has the introductory sentence, she develops what she talks about in the introduction, and then she has a concluding sentence that also transitions the reader into the next idea. In addition to following the APA style paragraph setup, you'll see that Jill has multiple citations throughout the paragraph. And you'll see also that they're not just from one author, they're from multiple authors. So I know that Jill has synthesized the sources. She has identified the patterns that emerged across the literature. If you also notice, just by skimming through here, every body sentence that she has a citation in it. The only sentences without citations might be the introductory sentence of the paragraph and the concluding sentence of the paragraph. You also notice that she has very few direct quotes, and the direct quote includes the page number. However, most of her sources have been paraphrased. She doesn't have direct quote after direct quote after direct quote in here. Okay, so to summarize what goes in the theme, you need a theme title that is written like a headline and encompasses what will be covered in this section. The first paragraph introduces the theme and the categories or sub-themes that will be discussed in this section. Each paragraph in this section connects to the overarching theme and is essentially a development of a category. Most of the paragraphs should follow APA style writing with a topic sentence, supporting sentences with citations, and a concluding sentence. All of the information in this section contains citations, except for possibly introductory and concluding sentences. Few direct quotes are used throughout the section. The majority of the information has been paraphrased. Even common knowledge is cited by a peer-reviewed source or an expert on the topic, and the last paragraph in the theme serves as a conclusion that highlights the main points of the category.
You can view all of the traits for Theme 1 and Theme 2 in the trait checklist that is available in that Module 3 folder. My recommendation is that once you have your thoughts on the page, you go back and check your themes to make sure they include each one of these traits. That's all for this video. If you have any questions, be sure to email us through Blackboard course messages. See you next video.